Then David numbered the people who were with him, and set over them commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds. And David sent the people out, 1/3 under the hand of Joab, 1/3 under the hand of Abishai the son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, and 1/3 under the hand of Ittai the Gittite. And the king said to the people, I myself will surely go out with you also. But the people said, You should not go out, for if we indeed flee, they will not set their heart on us, even if half of us die, they will not set their heart on us. But now you are worth 10,000 of us, so now it is better that you be ready to help us from the city. Then the king said to them, Whatever is good in your sight I will do. So the king stood beside the gate, and all the people went out by hundreds and thousands. Then the king commanded Joab and Abishai and Ittai, saying, Deal gently for my sake with the young man Absalom. And all the people heard when the king commanded all the commanders concerning Absalom. Then the people went out into the field to meet Israel, and the battle took place in the forest of Ephraim. And the people of Israel were defeated there before the servants of David, and the slaughter there that day was great, 20,000 men. And the battle there was scattered over the whole countryside, and the forest devoured more people that day than the sword devoured. Then Absalom happened to meet the servants of David. Now Absalom was riding on his mule, and the mule went under the thick branches of a great oak. And his head caught fast in the oak, so he was left hanging between heaven and earth, while the mule that was under him passed onward. Then a certain man saw it. He told Joab and said, Behold, I saw Absalom hanging in an oak. Then Joab said to the man who had told him, Now behold, you saw him. Why then did you not strike him there to the ground? And I would have given you 10 pieces of silver and a belt. So the man said to Joab, Even if I should receive 1,000 pieces of silver in my hand, I would not send forth my hand against the king's son, for in our hearing the king commanded you and Abishai and Ittai, saying, Keep for me the young man Absalom. Otherwise, if I had dealt treacherously against his life, and there is nothing hidden from the king, then you yourself would have stood aloof. Then Joab said, I will not wait around here before you. So he took 3 spears in his hand and thrust them through the heart of Absalom while he was yet alive in the midst of the oak. And 10 young men who carried Joab's armor gathered around and struck Absalom and put him to death. Then Joab blew the trumpet, and the people returned from pursuing Israel, for Joab restrained the people. And they took Absalom and cast him into a deep pit in the forest and set over him a very great heap of stones. And all Israel fled, each to his tent. Now Absalom in his lifetime had taken and set up for himself a pillar which is in the king's valley, for he had said, I have no son to preserve my name. So he named the pillar after his own name, and it is called Absalom's monument to this day. Then Ahimaaz the son of Zadok said, Please let me run and proclaim the good news to the king that Yahweh has judged to save him from the hand of his enemies. But Joab said to him, You are not the man for the good news this day, but you shall proclaim the good news another day. However, you shall not proclaim the good news today because the king's son has died. Then Joab said to the Cushite, Go, tell the king what you have seen. So the Cushite bowed to Joab and ran. Now Ahimaaz the son of Zadok said once more to Joab, But whatever happens, please let me also run after the Cushite. And Joab said, Why would you run, my son, since you will have no reward for going? But whatever happens, he said, I will run. So he said to him, Run. Then Ahimaaz ran by way of the plain and passed the Cushite. Now David was sitting between the 2 gates, and the watchman went up to the roof of the gate by the wall, and raised his eyes and looked, and behold, a man running by himself. And the watchman called and told the king. And the king said, If he is by himself there is good news in his mouth. And he came nearer and nearer. Then the watchman saw another man running, and the watchman called to the gatekeeper and said, Behold, another man running by himself. And the king said, This one also is bringing good news. And the watchman said, I see that the running of the first one is like the running of Ahimaaz the son of Zadok. And the king said, This is a good man and comes with good news. And Ahimaaz called and said to the king, Peace. And he prostrated himself before the king with his face to the ground. And he said, Blessed is Yahweh your God, who has delivered up the men who lifted their hands against my lord the king. Then the king said, Is there peace with the young man Absalom? And Ahimaaz said, When Joab sent the king's servant and your servant, I saw a great tumult, but I did not know what it was. Then the king said, Turn aside and stand here. So he turned aside and stood still. Behold, the Cushite arrived, and the Cushite said, Let my lord the king receive good news, for Yahweh has judged to save you this day from the hand of all those who rose up against you. Then the king said to the Cushite, Is there peace with the young man Absalom? And the Cushite answered, Let the enemies of my lord the king, and all who rise up against you for evil, be as that young man. Then the king trembled and went up to the chamber over the gate and wept. And thus he said as he walked, O my son Absalom, my son Absalom. Would I had died instead of you, O Absalom, my son, my son.